The rain drummed softly against the windows of the small cafe where Ethan sat, staring at his untouched cup of coffee. The city outside was alive with lights and movement, but inside him, everything felt still, except for the storm in his heart. He had received a letter that morning. No name, no return address. Just a single line written in delicate, familiar handwriting. Meet me at our place. Midnight. His heart had nearly stopped. He knew that handwriting. He knew it too well. It belonged to Lena. The woman he had loved. The woman he had lost 2 years ago. But that was impossible. Lena was gone. 2 years ago, they had planned their future together. Ethan, the quiet writer, and Lena, the free-spirited artist, had built their own world, filled with whispered dreams and midnight walks. But fate had been cruel. A tragic accident had taken Lena away before they could live the life they had promised each other. Ethan had spent 2 years drowning in grief, replaying every moment, every smile, every goodbye. And now, this letter. It didn't make sense. But he had to go. Ethan arrived at their spot, a secluded old bridge on the outskirts of the city, where they used to meet when the world felt too heavy. The river below shimmered under the pale moonlight. His breath was shaky as he checked his watch. 11:59 p.m. Then, footsteps. Soft. Familiar. His pulse thundered as he turned. And there she was. Lena. She stood under the street lamp, her hair damp from the misty air, her white dress flowing in the wind. She looked exactly the same as the last time he saw her. No, she looked almost the same. Her skin was too pale. Her eyes were too deep. But it was her, wasn't it? Lena, his voice was barely a whisper. She smiled, and the world around him vanished. I waited for you, Ethan, she said softly. I never left. He felt his knees weaken. But, how? This isn't real. She stepped closer, reaching for his hand. Her touch was cold. Too cold. Do you remember our promise? She asked. Of course, he did. No matter what happens, we will always find each other. Tears blurred his vision. He had spent years wishing for this moment, for one more chance to hold her, to hear her voice. And now she was here. But something was wrong. The wind picked up, whispering through the trees. The air smelled of rain and something else, something unfamiliar. Lena tilted her head. Come with me, Ethan. You don't have to be alone anymore. A single tear slipped down his cheek. He had dreamed of this. Of seeing her again. Of keeping his promise. But deep inside, a small voice whispered, "This is not Lena." The river roared below, and the street lamp flickered. Ethan took a step back. Her expression changed. The warmth in her eyes turned into something darker. Something that wasn't human. You don't believe in us anymore, do you? She whispered. His heart shattered at the words because he wanted to. God, he wanted to. But Lena was gone. And whatever stood before him wasn't her. Lightning cracked through the sky. And just like that, she was gone. Only the wind remained, carrying the faintest echo of a whisper. You promised. Ethan stood on the bridge, alone once again. The letter in his pocket felt heavier than ever. Maybe it had all been a dream. Maybe grief had played a cruel trick on him. Or maybe some loves are never meant to die. Even when they should.